Woo!
Woo! Hello, everybody. We are live on Facebook with the
Yay!
Moxie Strings celebratory day. Yay!
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Before I introduce these two beautiful women, um, I am going to enjoy my little tradition started where I celebrate potters. As you know, I have been a ceramicist potter for the last 7 years. I have to say I'm getting pretty good. Finally, I can, you know how you get intentional in music? You do the same thing in pottery. So in the early days, I would intend to make a cup and I made a bowl, or I would intend to make a vase and I made a statue. But it's starting to come. Anyway, this is not about me. This is about celebrating my teachers and my mentors and the marvelous ceramic artists around Michigan. So today we are featuring Lane Kaufman. He is a phenomenal teacher and was one of my big mentors, is one of my big mentors and teachers. He teaches a lot of fluidity and pottery and motion, and he's just exquisite. This one I'm going to hold up for you is large and cumbersome, so I hope you can get the idea. This is called salt firing, and
Cool.
it's the salt that does this extraordinary texture. And here's the top. I know it's a little samey as my background, but it does fit in with my house, does it not? And then let me hold up one more for you. And let's see, here it is. This is what's called a unomi, a tea, a celebration tea bowl in the Japanese style. And notice again the fluidity of the rim. Isn't that lovely? And just in case you would like to visit him, I'm going to hold this up so you can see. Lane Kaufman. Beautiful. All right, everybody.
Beautiful. Cool.
Yeah, aren't they great? Just
Yeah.
fantastic. So I am thrilled to introduce you to and share with you the Moxie Strings. Allison Lynn on cello, Diana Ladio
Right.
on violin. And before we start chatting, I've just got to give you a few of the credits from the critics. I love this. It's wonderful. And I agree after seeing you. Wondrous and unclassifiable.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to be that? And how about this? Top-notch instrumental wizardry. Wizardry. And then also, and I think this tells us about your style a little bit, genre blurring blend of ear-catching mainstream melodies and foot-stomping rock-influenced rhythms. Say that 100 times.
Yeah, you sound good on paper. Woo!
That's great. It's on your website.
Yeah, okay.
So why don't you introduce each other so I know who you are, but individually.
Yeah. My name's Diana. Um, yeah. Do you want us to introduce each other or ourselves?
Yourselves.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, my name's Diana. I play the 5-string fiddle, which is a little bit different. It's kind of like a violin and a viola put together. Most only have 4 strings, so allows for some cool stuff. And I am coming to you from Traverse City, Michigan at the moment.
Yay.
A little vacay retreat that's gone on for a month and a half of vacation.
Best kind.
Been great.
I am Allison Lynn. I played the electric cello in the Moxie Strings, and I am coming to you from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Actually, I'm coming to you from my parents' house in Grand Rapids, Michigan, because of course, the day of a live Zoom interview, my internet went out. So that all makes sense.
Of course.
So I buzzed over to my parents, but yes, I am here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I also reside in Grand Rapids, and I was born and raised in Grand Rapids. So
A Michigander to the
yeah,
core.
I'm a lifer here. I'm a lifer.
I'm not, but I think I am now.
Yeah.
I'm never going back to the West Coast.
We'll
Bless
keep
their
you.
hearts.
Yeah.
So, Allison, what is that delightful artwork behind your head? What is that?
Gosh, Sonny, I'm so glad you asked.
Oh my God.
This is actually artwork that I did in elementary school of a bicycle. So I picked my Zoom settings, strategically so that if anybody'd like to put an offer in, I,
Honestly, I would hang that on my wall.
well, thank you.
I think that's pretty hip.
Thank you. I'm actually in my dad's office, and he is a very big cyclist. So I made it for him, and he still has it just displayed. So
I love that. So, you guys, I have to tell you this, and I'm sure you know this, but when I looked up the word Moxie, because what a perfect name for you. Moxie was a soft drink in New England, right?
It
It
was.
was popular in 1884. It was sort of like a root beer, but it had a lot of tartness.
Yes.
So,
it tastes like garbage.
have you tasted it
We
really?
hate it.
We hate it.
So apparently you had to have some courage of a high order to be able to drink it, hence Moxie.
We've had a lot of fans bring it to us at shows and say, "Did you know that there's also a pop?" And we, of course, are like, "So
Thank
oh,
you.
thank you." And so the first time they did, we actually tried it, and we both like, it's. I think there's a
Oh.
cult of people that absolutely love Moxie, the soft drink, and
Yeah,
I think there's others that it's interesting.
Yeah.
that's fantastic. So
Yeah.
how did you guys arrive at that name? I'm just curious.
Well, this is kind of the joke we tell on stage too. We started as a band about 14 years ago, and we were children, you know. And so we thought it was really clever, and the first name of our band was String Cheese because we played strings.
Yeah.
And we thought that was so clever. And so eventually that got old, and we grew up a little, and we realized, okay, we might actually be able to do this music thing. We might need to have a little slightly more professional fitting name. So I think there was some article that was written that used the word Moxie, and we went, that's a really cool word. And we looked it up, and it means like energy and enthusiasm and like fervor. And I've actually since then heard that there is a slightly female connotation with it, which I don't know if that's necessarily true or not, but we're going with it. So it works. It works now. And we knew we did want to keep strings in the name of the band so that it was, so people kind of had a general idea of what they could expect, at least a little bit. So yeah, we had a long list, and we did a whole presentation for our parents with all these different all these different color schemes and everything. And ultimately, yeah, Moxie Strings was what came out.
I love it, especially during because of what's happening in our culture right now. I love also in the definition, force of character, determination, and nerve.
Love it.
I
Love that.
know.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you meet and become besties and carry on for 14 years? What was the beginning?
Well, we say that the band started pretty much the day we met. Diana and I, for many years, were counselors at the ASTA, the Michigan chapter of the ASTA string camp, and that was held in Howell, Michigan. And we were counselors. She was a counselor in the middle school camp, and I was a counselor for years at the elementary camp. And then one year we were counselors at the same session, and they put us in a cabin together as co-counselors. And we were very similar, and so we kind of butted heads right at the beginning because
We
we
didn't
both,
like each other.
yeah,
Okay.
both of us are attention seekers, not surprising. And so we're both trying to get attention, and we're kind of fighting each other for it. And it took about,
We filled the same space in a social situation.
yes. So,
Kind of the loud, funny one. And so when there's this other person that waltzed into the room that did that just as well, if not better, and I remember
Yeah.
being like,
yeah, we definitely were intimidated by each other, and so we dealt with it. And after about the first week, we started becoming more talkative to each other and friends. And then we both realized that we had this passion for alternative styles of music, which we don't usually use that term, but different, other than classical. And we both realized we both had electric instruments. And from that moment forward, we started playing, and the friendship then immediately blossomed. Our music life immediately blossomed. And now we call each other, musical soulmates. Like can't imagine playing music with somebody else. That type of thing. And yeah, so we say that the first 6 days when we were kind of apprehensive about each other, we kind of ignore that. We started the band 14 years ago, the week we met, and the friendship was right there with it. So
That's fun. Well, you can see that on stage with the two of you.
Oh, thanks.
It's fantastic because you both have this. Moxie is the perfect definition of you guys. But you're more than that. You're exuberant on stage. And
you that word. It was like that from the get-go. It was. I think because our personalities are really similar and our musical tastes are very similar. When we're on stage together, we're in each other's heads. Like it even freaks me out sometimes where I will think something and just glance and she'll know exactly what I'm thinking. And it's just, you just can't, and every tune that we play on stage is like different night to night based on who's feeling what, and the other just kind of reads the person who's like kind of leading, and it's just, there's something supernatural about it. And we always tell our students that we hope that they should be so lucky to meet someone that reaches kind of that soulmate musical status, because it's really powerful. And I think a lot of musicians go their whole lives without really getting that experience. So we feel really lucky for that.
That's where that instrumental wizardry comes in.
Neither of you can say wizardry, and it's cracking me up.
Where's your
wizardry? I didn't write the review.
Say it for us, Diana.
Yeah.
There's an R before the D as well.
Wizardry.
Wizardry.
Okay, Allison, say it 50 times, darling.
Wizardry.
Well, on that subject, that's one of the things that draws me still to playing jazz music, right? Because of the improvisatory element, and that nature of communication gets so refined and on such a high level that it's just like energy bursting through your body into the Moranosphere.
Absolutely.
It's deep, and it's spiritual, and it's
that's a
completing.
Spiritual is the right word. Yeah. And even we're finding there is quite a bit of improv in our music, but even if the improvised element is just how you're going to phrase things that night, or where you're going to add like those subtle decrescendos and then build up here, those are things that we don't plan anymore. And every tune is different night to night for that reason. But man, it's such a cool feeling to know that there's music that's happening for the first time right there through you, you know?
And one thing I see in your performance, and anybody that I feel like is at the top of their game, is that they might be playing the same tunes. Right. They might be even playing them in a similar way, but it is the first time. Every time is the first time, and you're leaning into that energy, and it's lovely and rare. So great.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's fun, Sunny, to speak with somebody who is also such an accomplished musician, because that takes conversation to a new level, and I like it.
Yay!
Yeah.
Well, my whole reason for starting to do this, and I guess I will give her kudos right now, but my friend Kathy Siegel Garcia has been doing her show in Los Angeles. I think she's reached 140 guests.
Wow.
She's been doing it every day, with 1 day of rest for 2 hours a day, interviewing world's jazz musicians.
Wow.
It makes me tired just saying this.
Yeah.
So her show is on right after mine, and it's from the West Coast. It's Kathy Siegel Garcia, Facebook Live, and today she's interviewing Carmen Bradford, who is a singer with the Count Basie band, killing singer.
Wow.
And I just learned she's the daughter of Melba Liston. Is that right? Am I right with that? I think so.
Wow.
But when I thought about doing this, wanting just a little more creative outlet during this COVID time,
Mhm.
what I didn't realize is how starved I was for this, for community and different aspects of community and hanging out with people that, we have a lot in common with. And at the end, you feel joyful and you go, wow, this is a great time. I go, no, no, it's a terrible time. No, it's a great time.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I know. I call it the connection buzz. And I feel like what I miss more than anything. But you can get a degree of it through a screen where you're
Yeah,
just, yeah, especially with someone that you, like you said, that you identify with and can do a deeper dive with a little bit, especially music
yeah.
about music is, yeah, I know. I didn't realize how much I missed it until a couple of cool conversations with people up here and around where you go, oh yeah, man, that's that's what life is for. Especially, as a musician, you that's what you do. You connect with people. That's half
Exactly.
the majority of your job. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Now, you guys play occasionally or often with a set player, a percussionist, right? Can you talk a little bit about that? And are you moving away from that or into that, or how's that looking these days?
The band has had the same format for the 14 years, being me and Diana are the Moxie Strings. For a very long time, we played with our drummer Fritz McGurr
Yes.
for several years, and that was he has now moved on to Boston, and still we love him. We just did a clip on our Facebook of playing a cover song with him, but I think after so many years and we had a lot of lineup changes, Diana and I like embraced the challenge of playing as a duo and playing just as two string instruments and using foot percussion, and we got really excited about that, about kind of just sticking to this like female power duo and kind of trying to do a lot of things. So we still do play shows if they call for it, for bigger venues. We have a couple of drum players, kit players, that we'll call on for bigger stages. But for the most part, we've really enjoyed, just this new, just trying to make as much sound as we possibly could as two people. It's been like wild. And the compliments or the feedback we get has kind of kept that motivation going, because we do have a lot of people that say to us, like, I can't believe that two people were making that amount of sound. And so we've kind of embraced that challenge and love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And it works. Tell us about the concert you did a couple nights ago. That's the best quarantined concert I've seen. The sound was fantastic. Their videography of you guys was rocking. It was the perfect length. You rocked it. Tell us about
Man.
that so that they can go and see you following our show.
Yeah, well, we can't take the credit for any of all that professionalism, but we were thrilled with it too. The venue is 20 Front Street in Lake Orion, Michigan. And they are just a beautiful small room, and they do a lot of really, really great. I mean, they get huge acts through there, like national names you'd recognize. And I think it's just because the room is so cool and intimate, and that they are such world class in their sound and video, that even if you could be playing a Van Andel, a lot of people still want to stop at this little venue. So yeah, we were really pleasantly surprised. They brought their whole team in masks, and it was awesome. And having really good video is more important than ever for bands right now. So we're going to probably put that to use going forward too, in terms of being able to offer these, more virtual and live options. But yeah, that 20 Front Street. And so that's posted on our Facebook page in the videos. I think the whole performance is still there. Yeah, just under an hour. It was really fun.
Oh yeah, if you get a chance to go and watch them, I would really suggest you watch that concert. It's wonderful.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, one of the things that knocked me out was You guys covering the Nirvana tune.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Allison, you are a groovy girl, man. You laid that down.
Oh,
That was badass.
we were looking for one last cover to put in that we Diana does this amazing thing where we have these ideas and we have these like cover song Sundays, and she
They're
puts
like campaigns. They're like social media campaigns, like a weekly thing of some sort, you know.
this timeline where it's so strategic of what, and we were missing one cover song, and we were sitting in Traverse City actually,
Right here.
right
That's
here,
all,
yep,
that's all gear behind me there.
Oh, yeah.
This is the
brainstorming.
rehearsal space.
Yeah, and I kept saying we need like a 90s like grungy gritty rock song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just kind of we're brainstorming, and all of a sudden we both kind of like, well, what about Smells Like Teen Spirit? Listen to it on our iPhones, and we were like, yes, that is it. And oh man, it's fun because we play with all those electric those pedals, guitar pedals, effects pedals, and it's amazing. And again, another challenge we like to do is trying to sound as much like those recordings as possible using a cello and a violin. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. And it's interesting too. We've been noticing, especially as an instrumental band, your goal is always to figure out how to still connect. Yep, Di's about to start talking, so better take the water break because you're gonna have plenty of time. Shut up, Allie. But we're always trying to figure out, especially because we're instrumental and we're not singing lyrics to people, how do we still continue to connect and engage? And in our show, it's the dialogue between the songs. We get to talk about our instruments and what to listen for. And, but on social media, it's been harder because, we can post videos of us playing, but they don't always like really translate. So we figured playing songs that people know is always something that's exciting. They're like highlights for people at our shows too. And I think it was my mom that said it kind of gives people a point of reference too. Like they might not quite understand like everything that's going on in the fiddle tunes or with the effects pedals and stuff, but when you play and you can recreate a sound that they really recognize, it accesses a different crowd, and I think it opens it up a little bit more for people. So we do play a lot of weddings too, so we get asked to learn some really interesting stuff. We do a whole like wedding set at our show as this compilation of crazy tunes we've learned for wedding ceremonies. But
I heard those. You played those on your concert. That was hysterical.
Yeah.
Did you do Feelings?
Oh no, that's a good one.
that is a good one.
I love it. But we
never play that song.
Right.
All right.
For me.
We did figure out though that like some songs really lend themselves to it and some don't. And there have been plenty of times where we've requested something or we've really wanted to learn a tune, and when you're not singing the lyrics, you may find that the melody line kind of, even though the lyrics are different, maybe just goes yeah. Like there's, even though the words are all different, if you were to play it without the words, it just doesn't translate at all.
Yeah.
So we were lucky. Yeah, right. It could just be all one note, and when you're singing different words, you might not notice that. But when you're trying to create it on a violin, it just doesn't work.
Do you know what's funny? I have to tell you that when I lived in LA, when I was starting out as a kid, I would do every gig that came my way. The only thing I didn't do was musically jump out of a cake. I sang wedding, I sang bar mitzvahs.
For the right price? I mean,
yeah.
Well, I would. Yeah. I sang singing telegrams. I sang rock gigs, which is hysterical because that's not my voice. But doing weddings in LA, when I was learning like these intricate jazz pieces by Chick Corea and instrumental tunes that I put lyrics to, and they were hard stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to learn a Paula Abdul tune, and it was exactly like what you're talking about. It's like the lyric is completely repetitive, saying nothing, and the melody is da 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 da, and I couldn't learn them.
I was going to say, I'm taking voice lessons now, and repeating notes with different words, that's way harder than you think.
Well, and it's way harder for me than to learn a really difficult tune, because it's like ear candy and then nothing.
I know.
Yeah.
That's pop for you. It's so
So,
catchy though. So,
Oh
and
yeah.
everybody can sing along with
so you all gave me entrance now. I understand that you are closet singers. Oh, who
Oh,
could have told me that?
Oh no.
well, that is up for debate.
That's right. We only like to sing in the closet, and
Yep.
that's about it.
So, is there going to be debut singing anytime in the near future?
You know,
We
that's something we've always toyed with almost every year. We've been like, you know what, maybe we should, and then we kind of just go on our normal instrumental way. I don't think we've ruled it out.
No.
But it would be kind of like a set and then maybe one or two special features of a song. We have sang at a couple of our shows and stuff, but it has not become a priority in the set list quite yet.
Right.
I
I
like
understand.
I like to think too that part of the, I guess, novelty of what we do is that it would become maybe a little bit more familiar, and if we did add lyrics with everything that we do, it's been a fun challenge to still connect with people without the lyrics. But yeah, what I really love when bands do is some type of like sing along at the end of shows. And that I feel like is something that we've always thought maybe would be a cool addition, would be to sing something and then invite others to kind of stand and sing with us. Because we're all about offering the experience. What can you leave feeling like, whether it's relieved or happy or just supported. And I do think that there's something to be said for singing and using your voice as being a part of that, definitely. So haven't ruled it out.
Interesting.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Well, here's the thing. I want to make one thing perfectly clear. Wizardry.
Yes.
Um, y'all don't need it.
Oh, well, thanks.
No, I mean, you have such a great vibe, and it's so communicative and joyful. And I go back to exuberant. I really think it is. And I mean, it's sexy and gritty too, but it's just so authentically funky, fun, beautiful. So you don't need.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much.
This is the best Monday I've had during COVID.
I know.
I mean,
Come
my
back tomorrow. We'll drink coffee.
I know.
So this is a perfect point because it was, of course, Jamie Sue that told me that you have sung from time to time.
Yeah.
Because I was curious. And don't we love our Smoke and Sled Dog records and our Jamie Cecile and Susan O'Rourke?
I'm telling you, that's a powerhouse team, and we are very, very honored that we get to work with them, and they get to work with us, and it's such a good relationship we have. It's amazing.
She's kind of like Jamie Sue's like our mama bear.
Yeah.
Like we call her when there's like stuff to talk about with shows and stuff, but we also are like, hey, Jamie Sue, hi, how you doing? She's just become a part of the family really quickly.
I love that. She's 20 years older than me, and she's my mama bear.
Oh, yeah.
What I meant to say is, I'm 20 years older than her.
Yeah. I was like, wow, she looks great.
Yeah, she's looking really good.
No, yeah, we love that whole team. They're great. And it's nice to, when you know that there's people that you trust that are representing you. And that has always been a thing for Allie and I, is that we do have a pretty high standard in terms of how we present ourselves and our show. And so to find people that we send them out into the world and they represent us well is a gift to us for sure.
Boy, you said that beautifully. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Ron Newman, my husband, is my partner in crime musically.
Yeah,
And
good.
we have ridiculously high standards too. And to know that we can trust and confide and for me that community aspect of creating a safe space and kind of a sacred space is so important. And they do that.
Yeah, they do a great job. Yep.
Yeah.
Hi, JS.
Hi, JS.
Probably watching.
Hi, Mom.
Watching.
20 years younger.
Aw.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, we have got to talk about your teaching and the MOX project and some of the clinics you're doing. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Do you wanna talk about the clinic, Sal?
Sure. Yeah. I mean that became a part of our job. Pretty much the first year we started playing music together, we knew that we had a passion to go into schools and basically kind of do what we did, or what Diana essentially showed me, got me into the world of fiddle music and stuff like that. So she showed me this different thing I could be doing besides playing classical music on my instrument, which I absolutely love. We're both classically trained. We both always tell students that it's so important that our foundation is classical music. But it was important that I had somebody that showed me a different side of music. So then we knew right off the bat that it was going to be extremely important for us to do the same thing for other students. So from the first year, we started going into schools, and it started off just performing for them and maybe talking a little bit. And then, the wheels started turning, and we were able to brainstorm, okay, well, we don't just need to go in and perform for them anymore. We can go in and teach them something, or teach them a tune, and then years went by, and we can go in and start teaching them how to improv and making things accessible for them, because they might not get that in their program. Their program might be great in teaching them the fundamentals of classical music and all of that, but they needed somebody to come in and show them something different. Because not every student is going to leave an orchestra and go, I'm going to play classical music for the rest of my life. Some of them will, and some of them will leave and go, no, I want to be the violinist for Taylor Swift, and I want to do this, and I want to play on American Idol. And we just wanted to be influential in showing them that there is several different routes you can take in a world of music, and in a life and a career in music. So it became a priority our first year, and it has become the priority throughout our 14 years. It is top for us, is getting into schools and working with students. It's definitely our passion. I mean,
Yeah. It gives us this kind of larger sense of purpose too, that I don't think we wouldn't, I just don't think we would feel totally complete if we didn't have what felt like a service element to what we were doing. Like, we love being on stage and offering an opportunity for people to disconnect and feel community, and, like I said, offer that experience. But there's something about accessing the younger generation in a way that we were accessed, and part of what offered us the opportunity to have a career outside of the orchestral world was being offered some of these ideas at really pivotal times. And I think that we were kind of weirdly positioned to be able to do this, because we learned all of this stuff kind of as we went a little bit later in life. The fiddle music, the improvisation, all the audio effects and everything. So it was almost like we had a very conscious memory of learning how to improvise, which then allowed us to kind of break it down and help other classical players who would come from the exact same background as us. And so as we were figuring this out, and we were going to fiddle camps and really taking our whole technique apart to try to figure out how to make sounds that we wanted to make, it started to get really, almost start to feel like a responsibility. Like, okay, if we're doing this work, let's pass it on. Like, let's save them some time and figure out how many young, awesome rock musicians or fiddle players or jazz players are tucked in these orchestra programs that just need to have the seed planted,
Hallelujah, man. It really is fantastic. I think about very similarly. I didn't learn about jazz in school. I studied classically. I was singing choral music and opera at Arizona State. I wasn't singing. I was playing trombone in the jazz band, and that sort of made me go like this. But everything I learned, it was sort of, oh, look at that. Let's try this, or let's try this. And then to have a pedagogy where you can go in and help those kids open up their horizons, to me, is fantastic.
oh yeah.
And it's like the old adage, there's only good music. You know, it's not classical music versus all this other stuff. That's
Right.
ridiculous.
Yep. And we try to be really clear about that too, that we wouldn't trade our background for anything. We absolutely, not only did it give us the technical foundation, but it is still so powerful to sit in an orchestra and play with that many musicians, music that has been, passed down over centuries. I just before all this hit started playing with the community orchestra in Nashville, and would always say, we love our classical roots, but I needed to feel that like wall of sound from a Dvorak symphony to really go, oh my gosh, yes, this is what kept us so excited for so long. And we tell our students that that is just your launch pad. There is no like either or. It's just music. It's an art form, and you have this ability to play this wonderful, beautiful kind of more traditional art form, and that's just can be one of the many things that you do. Yeah.
And I think after you reach a certain point in your life, it gets a little hollow or shallow if you're not giving something back. You know, it really, I mean, it's fun to be on stage and a little self-centered and all that sort of thing. It's great. But unless it comes from a little bit of a deeper purpose, it's slightly hollow,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So,
Could not agree more. And I think we did start to figure that out. And yeah, I think that we're motivated differently than some musicians. And I think that for a lot of people, the attention and the fame and like kind of the spotlight, don't get us wrong, we love that. And we miss it terribly. Like I'm realizing I'm looking around like, am I even cool? Like, what do I, because I haven't had an audience telling me that anytime recently.
oh yeah, you're cool. I'm going to tell you right now.
Well, I'll take that. That'll get me a couple more weeks at least. Love you, Al. Yes, I am. I'm cool. Did you hear, Sonny? But that I think that comes from. I felt a shift in us too when we started teaching more. I guess I kind of consciously started speaking a little more vulnerably on stage and talking a little bit more about, inviting people into this experience with us. And even that was a shift that said, we'd like to not just play for you and have you, adore us, whatever, but we'd really like to serve you in this experience. And we want to make sure that this is customized and that it actually brings you in and connects you and offers you something. So the teaching goes hand in hand with that, but yeah.
Last 2 weeks ago now, my artist was Lulu Fall, and she is Senegalese, an American, and from Cameroon. Her parents were from Africa, and she spoke with such great vulnerability about the cross cultural aspects and about feeling insecure and all those sorts of things. And and as a consequence, she's just a beautiful spirit giving her music, right? She's like a light beacon. And one of my friends told me, yeah, her vulnerability is her superpower.
Yeah. Yep.
Really. Yes.
And that's what I kind of hear coming from you both too, is it's like you're not, this whole experience is deepening and giving you more wisdom and you're sharing all that. And so the whole thing just keeps getting more and more layers, which is so hip.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're cool.
Yeah,
This is
man.
amazing.
I'm cool
You're
too, right?
cool. You're cool. You're hip.
I think, yeah, and I think that comes also from being in the same project for this amount of time. You really can start to think a little more deeply about things, and really go, how is this going to be my like life's work? Where are the added layers, like you said, that really, make this feel purposeful?
Well, and because you have all that trust, right? Working with my band for all this period of time, in LA it was all, I loved the guys there. I mean, are you kidding me? They were phenomenal musicians. But I didn't really have a band. I paid guys for a rehearsal, and then we had one rehearsal and we go hit.
Yeah.
Really good training ground, like being burnt by fire. Here, one, two, okay. But I have had this luxury of being with my husband, who during COVID we can play music together, and my beautiful band,
Yeah.
for many, many years. And it's like that same thing with Jamie Sue. It's like that the element of trust and safety is so huge that you can kind of spread out a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're safe to take some risks when your bedrock, is around you at all times.
Well, my dears, I think we need to get to your amazing music contributions here.
Yeah.
And before I'm going to cue some things up here to play, I'm all things to all people. I am producer of, Jamie Sue is producing, but I am queuing up the music. Can we talk about your record covers and the art?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
So I got to say something first. Every single record cover that you have feels like conceptually goes with every other one. They're minimalistic, right?
Yeah.
Minimalism is a theme. Abstract painting, contemporary abstractions. And then, I just got to say the hippest and my favorite cover and my favorite title is, can you guess what I'm going to say?
Running in Squares.
Yes! I mean, where did you come up with that? That sounds like Andy Warhol.
Yeah, that's a good question. You know where I think it actually came from was me, Alan Fritz, we were in a band vehicle of some sort, rental car or something, and I think we were lost.
Yeah.
And we were like, ended up going around the same block over and over again. And the joke was, we're running in squares right now. Where are we supposed to be? Where are we going? And then we went, well, that's kind of cool. But yeah.
Very cool. Well, this tune, 3 Feet Deep.
Yes.
And is it part of a segue? It's a segue from like a little suite of tunes, Smile On. Is that correct? Am I saying that correctly?
Smile On is a tune that we actually have just started to play again. We have a lot of songs that have been archived and we don't play them that often, but Smile On is absolutely our family's #1 request. They all love it. They all want it
all the time.
Yes. So we kind of stopped playing it for a while, but now we've played it for weddings. It's one of our first melodies we ever wrote. Mm-hmm. It was one of the first melodies that there was cello playing melody as well as violin. Like there was a lot of firsts for that. But then Diana and I used to go up to northern Michigan, up to Glen Arbor for tune writing retreats. And one retreat, we kind of thought, okay, well, Smile On, maybe we'll bring it back, but it needs something. It needs something else. And so Diana said, let's write another tune, tack them together. It'll be great. And so we wrote that 3 Feet Deep up north in Glen Arbor, Michigan. We were there in the dead of winter, and it was completely fine outside. But then as the day went on, we're watching out the window, and thick northern Michigan snow is falling and falling. And we pretty much got locked into the house because so much snow fell in this one day. So as we wrote the song, by the end of a 10-hour jam day, we were like, well, what do we call it? And we looked outside, and the ground had gone from completely naked to
3 feet deep
3 feet of snow. And we went 3 feet deep. And we're not going anywhere because I'm not going to shovel.
Bottoms up.
Yeah. And without further ado, that was a perfect tune intro. A snippet, I wish we could play the whole thing, but this is just enough to whet your appetite. This is 3 Feet Deep. darn, I don't want to stop playing that. That's great.
Movie music. We used to joke on stage that when there's a Frozen 3,
Yeah.
we're gonna try to sell that one to them. It just kind of has that Disney-ish
Yeah.
quality.
Epic.
Yeah.
I love it. My first gig in LA was at Disneyland.
No way.
It was.
But you didn't jump out of the cake.
Huh?
But you did not jump
I
out of
did
the cake.
not jump out of cake. I was not a princess either. I'm too tall. But I did, the band that I played with, oh my God, what a reality adjustment. Moving from college, getting this gig at Disneyland, people that played with Frank Zappa,
Oh,
right? Larry Carlton's drummer, who was like a really great fusion guitar player, kind of famous at the time. I mean, these crazy guys getting high in the woman's bathroom where they could blow the smoke up the vent. And
Disneyland.
I am just kind of this innocent child in so many ways. And we opened Space Mountain Stage.
Amazing.
Right? In like 1977.
Wow.
And who knew? That was a great gig. They paid you, like, I can't even remember what it was, but it was a lot of money at the time. For me, it was $500 a week plus, I can't remember if it was 15 or $20 an hour for rehearsal.
Oh yeah.
That's
That was,
great.
right?
Oh yeah.
And it was definitely Disneyland. Boy, Disneyland is all the funky boys that were playing acid jazz back in the 70s had their neat little haircuts and their neat little outfits and
Gig's a gig.
a gig.
Gig's a gig.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good gig. Tell me about your latest record, about Breathe.
Yeah. Well, we had a lot of slow tunes in our repertoire, and for fiddle and cello, it really lends itself to the blending of these two kind of melodic voices, and we love playing them. I mean, it's a lot of what we write too, is these kind of like slower melodies, and we realized that that's basically what people were asking for most when they were asking for tunes on albums, like at the merch table after shows. And so they'd say, can you tell us what album this slow tune was on, or the one that you introduced this way? And they were the majority of them were slow tunes. So we went, okay, well, if this is the entrepreneurs in us said, this is what people want, so let's do it. And so we wrote a couple new ones, and we re-recorded a couple, and then we remastered a couple of others. So Breathe it's all slower melodies. And we were calling it the Lullaby album for a while, because we are of the age where lots of our friends have kids. And so it was something that they could just put on and not have to skip any tracks and just let it play. And I think if the theme of this is like, really feeling like we're in service to the people that appreciate our music and follow the band. This was another one of those that it was not only what people wanted, but it just kind of made us think harder about how music serves people day to day, and to have something that people are using to take a deep breath and to clear for a second and to take a quiet moment in an otherwise. I mean, when we released it, we had no idea the chaos that was coming, but even then it was the idea that, things are so crazy externally. Music can serve us in that way, just to take a moment, take a breath, clear the head. So
Isn't that amazing about your title again? How perfect is this title for these times? I don't know about you guys, but I'm a singer. I am a good breather. But when I get tense or upset or unhappy or feeling insecure, I quit breathing. I just stop. I just don't breathe. And even having the reminder on your album and that beautiful concentric circle, I mean, that was a perfect cover for that? Who came up with that?
Well, Diana has done all 4 of our covers. So Diana is a artist extraordinaire. And each one of them has a story, and each one of them probably has several video clips of her, doing, work and like throwing paper, and she had tons of different, and would hold up different ones and go, how's this square? How's this square? She just put so much time, and I think it was chalk with the pears. The pears were these, I mean, she had so many versions of our pears. And then we got to outlet, and we thought, let's now utilize the computer more. So she used her artist brain on the computer, and we did everything like that. And then Breathe, it was all of it. It was they're very thought out. I'll give you that. We come up with the ideas for the names and maybe the color concept together, and then she just takes it, and like it was magic of like her dialing into me and going, how about this? And I'd be like, oh, I mean, even the music stuff, the album looks great, So.
Wow, I didn't know that. I had assumed that you had hired somebody to do your cover. It's fantastic, Diana.
Well, she charges a lot, so I mean.
Yeah, I bet you do. I bet you do.
There's still an invoice floating out there.
And the pears on your first record, those are beautiful.
Thank you. Well, coming from another artist, that means a lot. Yeah, I was just talking to a group of kids about this morning, that like visual art and music were always kind of neck and neck in my life. So I do feel lucky that I ultimately ended up feeling like being on stage and connecting was what I wanted to do for a living, but how convenient it's been to also have a little bit of a background in the visual art too, because between posters and website and business cards and banners and album covers, it's very useful. Yeah, but thank you. I really appreciate that.
I offered to do some of the artwork, but mine all looked the same. It was like stick people.
Yeah, she sent me a business card design once, and I went, okay, officially the artistic director.
Did they all turn out to be bicycles?
Yeah,
she's like, I can draw a mean bicycle.
I can draw a mean bicycle. So
it's funny. I have never thought of any other sort of tangible, visual, artistic outlet. But playing in mud, man, I love it. And and if I'm feeling frustrated or abysmal about, getting older and singing and the pity pot and all that sort of stuff, I just go down and throw some clay and center it, and the space opens up, and I'm, and it's just so great to put your hands on clay, and at the end of the day, you have something that you have made that can last forever.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how I feel with cooking, except it doesn't last forever because I eat it right away.
Well, yes, and I would like to eat it.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, that's one of my questions for y'all. What have you discovered some lovely culinary stuff during COVID?
Jeez.
Or what's your favorite food during COVID even?
That's a really good question, because Diana and I have actually polar opposite answers. She kind of got into the routine of like knowing exactly what she liked to eat, and that would become a pretty big staple every day. And I resorted back to some of my favorites as a child, such as bologna sandwiches or all these things, hot dogs that repulse her. But I absolutely love to cook. So there have been a lot of days that it will be a go out and buy 40 ingredients because I'm going to make some recipe that I don't even know if I'm going to like it, but it's so therapeutic to me to be in my kitchen, hands-on and cooking. So, some days it's bologna sandwich, some day it's some elaborate stew, but yeah.
I like it. How about you, Diana?
I feel very lucky that I have some amazing humans around me that cook incredibly well. Allie being top of the list, because I get to benefit from that. I do not. And at this point, I don't enjoy it. I think that it is so silly to put such artistry into something that you're just going to consume and make disappear. I can't get into it. And I have, we've both always been athletes, and to me, food is fuel. But it facilitates connection, which is my thing. So sure, sure. But what I have found in this COVID time that I have really enjoyed is just being able to keep any type of semblance of a routine. because normally it's, we travel with tons of stuff with us, because everything, there's just so many variables. We never know what the day, as you know, you've toured, Sunny, that you just never know what the menu is going to be, what's going to be thrown at you, what the hotel is going to have. And we can bring certain staples with us, but for the most part, it's like just a day-to-day navigating and trying to make the best decision possible. And that doesn't sound good, but that's what's provided. But to be able to just, yeah, I did. I found myself eating like the same 2 meals every day, because it's the first time in 10 years that I've actually been able to do that. Yeah. And there's no thinking involved.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, we both have this irrational fear when we're on tour that we're going to end up in a situation where there's going to be no food or something.
Yes, which I don't think is ever happened. But.
I blame my mother. My mother is the same, like I always have a granola bar, or, and Di and I do the same thing. We have these bags that like, okay, if the dinner is something that, then I have this, and we pull up these giant bags that have like gallons of milk and like
avocado, sweet potato, oil packet.
It's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Our suitcases we've learned how to travel so that we used to pack in like 4 bags. Now we pack in one condensed bag that fits in like the middle seat in a car, but the rest of the car is full of groceries.
Yeah.
That's so great.
We have a serious Whole Foods problem. If we're in a city that has a Whole Foods, we're there minimum of 3 times.
I love, that's great.
Oh,
That's
man.
great. I don't know if you're like me, my poor husband, I feel so bad for him that if I don't have food regularly, I am extremely grouchy.
Yeah, it's hangry. It's a hangry thing.
I am extremely, my light just went out. Oh well, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
Still look great.
Great. Yeah.
I think I blew a fuse somewhere. Oh well. Anyway, yeah, so I do the same thing. There's fruits, there's my raw nuts, there's stuff that I just take. So if I start to feel my energy go down, it's like, oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Not nosh.
When a lot of times our days, because of the teaching all day, I mean, we might be in front of kids at 7 a.m., teaching until 3 p.m., 2-hour break, and then a whole concert with them in the evening. I mean, they turn into 16-hour days. Yeah. And if you don't have snacks around, I mean, it's almost like purely fueling at that point. You can't let yourself get lightheaded and too, undernourished. Right. But yeah, it's kind of survival as much as anything else.
Your mom was right.
Seriously. Thank you, Sandy. I mean, she always has a packet of oatmeal in her purse.
So, my dears, I have got to play this wonderful song. And let me just cue it up. It is from your latest record, and it's called Remembering SC. And would you tell me a little bit about it? Oh, look, the light came back up. My husband came up and became my engineer.
Thanks, husband.
Yeah. Remembering SC actually is an older tune. So we picked 2 tunes for you that were written quite a long time ago, but we've started playing them again. And at the beginning of the interview, Diana was talking about what our band name used to be, and it was String Cheese. And that was a huge portion of our lives. It was how we became us. It's how we learned how to be business owners together, how we learned how to play music together, how we learned how to just do this life. And so as much as we were ready for a new name, we still wanted to pay tribute to the name and the identity that we started with. So Diana wrote that melody, and we thought, well, how do we didn't want to have string cheese in the title, but we bounced some ideas off each other. And I think it was on the drive to the studio one day that we were sitting in the car. I think we were in the car with my dad riding to the studio. And I think one of us had just said, like, what about like remembering? And then it kind of just happened naturally that we're like, oh, Remembering SC. Yeah, it's subtle. It's perfect. It's doing exactly what we intended it to do, which was to honor what we started with.
Oh, I just love that. Well, folks, this is Remembering SC. No, I have no
Gorgeous.
idea.
I didn't know I played that part.
Okay,
Wow.
we're gonna start that again. And forgive me again. All things to all people here, apparently.
I love it.
There is there was something going on there. Okay, let's try again because it's so gorgeous. Okay.
Very good.
Me too. My God, that's beautiful. Does kind of, am I the only one that's a little teary-eyed here?
Oh,
Oh, love it.
still get,
Really
I still get
beautiful.
misty on that one for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. What a
Yeah.
compliment.
Well, guys, we have just spent a weepy hour together.
Ah,
Yeah,
No, that was really beautiful. Thank
thank you
you
very
for
much.
sharing that.
thank you.
We are nearing the end of an hour together, but
It's
is there
blue.
anything else would you like to move in with me?
Sure.
Come
Sure.
on, come on down and live in the basement and play some
How-
string music.
Do you have a Whole Foods
Happily.
close?
Do I have what?
A Whole Foods close?
Oh, heck yeah.
All right, great.
We're there.
We've got Whole Foods, we've got Foods for Living, our local health food store. It's wonderful.
Heck yeah.
Well, we
Would
hope we
you
have
like
time
to say anything else to your young people or the folks out there before we say
Yeah.
goodbye?
I would say just stay in touch. There's a lot of, we're going to be doing some different things, coming up with different ways to still continue to connect with people, doing some more live stuff. We're going to be launching kind of like a subscribe to the band, kind of with some private perks kind of thing. And yeah, we've got, we'll be announcing a couple shows in the next couple of weeks up here in Michigan. So our email list is easy to find on our website, and Facebook and all of the good stuff will allow us to, we try to keep things pretty fun and lively on social media. So we'd love to have you along with us.
Fantastic. And the website is themoxiestrings.com, correct?
Real easy.
strings.com. Yep, we're an easy follow, and yeah, we'd love the opportunity to hear you perform sometime, Sunny. So hopefully
Yeah.
that will happen in the future.
Oh, I hope so when all this is over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever need a string section, let us
That's
know.
right.
Oh, I know who to call now. Like these cross-genre connections, they're
Right.
gonna last, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And thank you for being my guests today. We're giving you a big virtual round of applause to the Moxie Strings. My next guest is going to be the remarkable guitarist and singer and writer Eldon Kelly. And he will be with us on September 28th. So please be sure and tune in if you can. And again, thank you guys so much. And we'll stay on a few minutes after I sign off. Mwah, thank you. Until
Thank
next
you,
time.
honey. Thank you.
So fun.